You're watching Visitors Book. I'm your host, Hira Mustafa, and today I'm in conversation with South Korean Ambassador Sir Sangpyo. So, Excellency, first of all, thank you so much for giving us time. I would like to start with, you have been here in Pakistan for 6 months now. How is your experience in the country so far?
Before I came here, I think that this area a little security-wise very important, and some I heard the problems. So people, they are getting nervous, but when I arrived here, they are not. They are very peaceful and they are very kind and generous. So I was very happy to get connected with the Pakistani people here and meet them and have time there with them. So really, I'm enjoying my life here.
That's so interesting to know.
Yeah.
So, Excellency, pandemic has affected the world, and due to which certain activities are put on hold. How much pandemic has affected your work and life here?
So same that Korea has more than 160 overseas missions of the world.
All right.
Most of them, due to the COVID-19, they cannot do their work properly. So I thought that before I came, I should be in my office and no meeting, no works, but actually not. In the last 6 months, I should do a lot of things because there are huge investment from Korea and huge business between Korea and Pakistan, and there are people-to-people exchange and meetings. So I was very busy in 6 months. I never knew that. So, but there is some project which is right now put on hold due to the COVID-19. One of my main focus during my time here, bringing more Korean tourists here, especially for the Buddhist pilgrimage tourists. So, but due to the COVID-19, Korean the Buddhist huge sector, they are right now waiting for that ending of the COVID-19. So some of our projects are right now put on hold due to the COVID-19.
All right. So, Excellency, from an outsider's perspective, how do you see that Pakistan has coped up with the situation?
I have a good connection with World Health Organization, Pakistan, WHO here. We have some project together here. The evaluation of the WHO office here, Pakistani government doing very well, and even though that subcontinent there are serious problem due to the COVID-19, only this country is doing well due to the thanks to the government well managed situation. So I was heard that, and actually in my embassy, since the outbreak of the COVID-19, no COVID positive case here.
So, Excellency, how is the situation in South Korea right now?
In the initial stage of COVID-19, Korean government are doing well because we have a good system of the health protection authorities and something like that. But right now strong COVID-19 virus comes like Delta variant, something like that. So after third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, right now Korean positive cases is growing. So we are cautious on that, but still we are doing well. But right now, world should keep our COVID-19 quarantine or that measures SOPs. We should keep it well. So Korea is now in that kind of a situation.
So, Excellency, as you mentioned that the back home government is taking necessary measures, how often do the ambassadors get time to visit their home?
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19, there are no meeting among the heads of overseas missions. In Korea, there are every year we have heads of government head of overseas missions meeting, but right now we held that meeting of heads of overseas mission, but in virtually, so so we don't have we don't have opportunity to visit Korea right now.
All right.
But soon we get vaccinated all, so soon we will open again. Allow that the ambassadors can visit Korea. So but I'm waiting for that time.
All right. So, Excellency, where are you from in South Korea, and what does your home region look like?
You know, I'm come from the Seoul. Seoul is the capital of the South Korea. 1/3 of the population lives in Seoul, so surely I'm also comes from Seoul. And Seoul is Korea is not so different from Pakistan. I mean that culturally, or that people's behaviors, because we are all the Asian people. But difference is Korea more actively receive that Western cultures, so more looks like Western style society, but basically we are Asian people, so I feel that Seoul resembled a lot to Pakistan and Islamabad.
So, Excellency, I would like to ask, is your family here with you, and how are they liking the country?
So my wife is also busy like me. As I told you that Pakistan people are very kind and very generous, so already my wife has many friends many Pakistani friends.
All right.
So she is busy to meet them and go together somewhere, and they introduce that the Pakistani things, the cultures and clothing. So she also is busy in Islamabad, and she is also enjoying that whole life here.
Excellency, would you say that South Korea is a well-known country here in Pakistan?
Yeah, I was surprised whenever I met Pakistani people. They talk about the Gia Sportage, Samsung mobile phone, and even you maybe heard about the BTS. A couple of days ago, I was invited to some Pakistani people's event there. Some of invitee asked me, told me that their children likes BTS. So
Yeah.
BTS, you know, that the Korean boy band, musical boy band. So I didn't know that BTS is also well known to Pakistani young people. So you know, basically all the people, they knew Korea as a country which has rapidly developed its economy. But for the young people, they know in different ways. But I found that Pakistani people know well
About
Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah, about
So,
Korea.
Excellency, what kind of image do South Koreans have about Pakistan as a country?
You mean that South Korea's image to Pakistan?
Yeah.
As I told you that Korea is seen to Pakistani people rapidly developed country from the poor country, I mean the least developed country, even though that in 1960s Korea situation was worse than the, Pakistan.
All right.
So Pakistan gave that humanitarian assistance to us, but suddenly Korean economy rise up to the world class. That's the image that for the many Pakistani government officials and businessmen think about that South Korea.
All right. So, what makes Pakistan an important country for South Korea?
Oh, so Pakistan is basically, as you know, that Pakistan is home to the our Buddhism.
Yeah.
So 1/3 of Korean population are Buddhist. So they are eager to visit this country. And this one part. Second part is that in the middle of your country is home to the Indus civilization.
Yes.
All the Koreans learn that the Indus civilization as one of three major world civilization. So it's famous to Korea, and even right now, Pakistani economy is very strong, huge potential for our business people. So for the Korean businessmen, Pakistan is some country has many potential for business.
All right. As you said, like back home, people are very much impressed by the Pakistanis as they have like roots to the Indus Valley civilization.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know, like when you got to know that you will be posted here in Pakistan, what was the impression of the country in your mind?
So I thought that first of all, I was very honored to appointed as an ambassador to here. And second impression, I would be busy, very busy. Actually, I'm very busy. So until now, I cannot have time to visit my personal travel to this country.
All right.
I plan to go to Gilgit and Hunza in the end of the July.
Yeah.
But I hope to keep my promise to do my personal travel to there. But I don't know that in the end of July, what happened to me in the case I should cancel. So that's my impression, and my first impression right now make it real. So that was my first impression.
What was the biggest surprise about the country so far, since you have spent a couple of months here in Pakistan?
There are many things. One is I was surprised that the Pakistani people normally they speak three languages.
All right.
English, Urdu, and their own tribal language, their regional language. So recently I visited Tokam, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and I see that some mark it says "Welcome to Pakistan," and then two languages. I know that the one language because I started to learn the Urdu, so that might be the one language Urdu, but I don't know which language should I ask them to what language in the middle. They say Pashtun language, so they should know that the three languages also. That was my one of the surprise, but there are many surprises here. So weather condition is better than I thought, and people are very active. Some people working very hard. Some people more work than the Korean people. So there are many things that I surprised after I arrived here.
All right, that's so interesting to know about that. Excellency, in your initial days of student life, have you ever thought that you will end up as a diplomat?
Oh, my major is communication, so I plan to be a journalist or that TV program makers, producers.
All right.
But certainly when I study in the university, communication skill can apply to that diplomatic job.
Okay.
Diplomatic job is to persuade our position to other country, and we should well understand from that other country's position, so make it some synergy. So I changed my mind to be a diplomat. So right now I'm using a lot of my learning studies in my days of the university. So I'm very happy to be a diplomat.
All right. So how much interesting it is to travel around the world as a diplomat?
I was focused in my ministry. I was focused on that multilateral issues. So I attended many meetings everywhere in the world. So from the North Pole to not exactly South Pole, but anyway, that all over the world. So I found that all country, all region have their own logics, own lives, own traditionals. So diplomat job is making their all different, all original things get harmonized and make synergy. So my travel to over the world that makes me more competitive and make me more happy life. So.
All right. As you mentioned that your majors is in communication. So what sparked this interest in you to pursue your diplomatic career?
So as I already told you that I can be the journalist, I can be the TV program makers, but I thought that what would be my main contribution to my country, my society. So I think of so I choose that diplomatic job as my career.
So Excellency, where were you posted before Pakistan, and which is your most favorite posting so far?
I was lucky to be posted normally 2 times in the United States, 2 times in Paris. So I should be posted in hard country. That was in Gabon, in African country. So every my posting, my job in overseas mission was very enjoyable. But my recent post in the Korean permanent delegation to the United Nations, it was from 2014 to 16. And you remember that 2015, the UN agreed on that Sustainable Development Goal and Paris Climate Change Agreement. I was the leading negotiator on 2 agreements. So I remember that I have a good memory. We successfully agreed on that 2 major international agreements. That was my good
Excellency,
memory.
Since I was going through your CV, you have a very interesting and fascinating diplomatic career, and you were awarded with the 2 achievement awards. So what was it about?
That's also my multilateral negotiation or multilateral diplomacy award. One is that ASEAN-Europe summit Korea hold in Seoul. So I successfully organized that meeting. Second one, Korea is one of the G20 country.
Oh wow!
So we in 2010 we held the G20 summit in Seoul. So I was the one who organized that meeting. So I got the award for the success of the meeting. So 2 times I got awards.
Okay. Now it's time to take a short break. I'm in conversation with South Korean Ambassador Sir Sangpyo. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm in conversation with South Korean Ambassador Sir Sangpyo. So let's see what I'm going to ask next. Pakistan and South Korea have strong ties when it comes to bilateral and cultural exchange. What are the current policies is South Korean embassy working on to strengthen the bilateral ties?
Right now, main focus put on the investment, Korea's investment to the hydropower plant in this country. Last month, I mean that June, 2 Korean hydropower projects were approved by the Kpop Pakhtunkhwa provincial government, which amount to $1.5 billion US. So right now, 2 projects will be carried out. In the case that Korean hydropower companies can contribute to the generation of electricity of this country. That's the one. There are many things. I just let me tell you just one thing, right?
Okay. So, Excellency, South Korea is investing in the automobile sector of Pakistan. Do you think it will help in stabilizing the automobile sector in Pakistan?
Yeah, what was that? 3 days ago, I attended a virtual ceremony of a Korea knowledge sharing program.
All right.
With Pakistan. That subject was making Pakistani companies integrated into the global value chain.
Okay.
In automobile sectors.
Yeah.
You know that right now Korean brand vehicle is are produced in some factories here, Kia Sportage and Hyundai cars. We only produce that Korean brand car is not enough to make that Pakistani automobile industry is strong. So we have a Korean knowledge sharing program. So I just knew that we already have that project with Pakistani small SMIDA, small medium enterprise association. So we had a good knowledge sharing program result to make. So I think that with that cooperation, I mean that the government cooperation and business to business cooperation, I think Korea can contribute to that, making that the Pakistani automobile industry more strong and more stable.
All right, that's really interesting. Excellency, power generation, a couple of South Korean power generation companies are investing in Pakistan. Should we expect more South Korean companies to invest?
Yeah, I already talked about the 2 new projects for hydropower plant project here. I found that there are huge opportunity to invest hydropower plant project, even that solar power plant here. But only in 2 countries, I mean that Korea and China investing to the power generation sector here. So I persuade the Korean power generation companies come early. If we wait long, we will lose the business opportunity.
Yeah.
So I hope that more Korean power generation company to invest here. So that's my hope.
Excellency, as you said already, that South Korea is working on multiple policies. So there is a vast diaspora of Pakistani communities settled in South Korea. What do you think, are there enough job opportunities for the Pakistani community there?
Pakistani skilled workers are well known to world. Even in Korea, Pakistani workers are welcomed by all the Korean companies. So recently, Pakistani skilled workers entering to Korea has increased a lot. But due to the COVID-19, since last year, entering the new Pakistani skilled worker to visit Korea is right now put on hold. But once the COVID-19 pandemic ends, I think the huge Pakistani skilled worker will enter the Korea and do contribute to Korean business industry. So that makes that relation between the country more strong, more close, I guess.
All right. So, Excellency, Pakistan is working on its Green Initiative project to combat the climate change. What policies is your country adopting?
My current president is very keen on counter climate change and environment protection. So in May, Korea hosted the second P4G Summit. P4G Summit is about that counter climate change and environmental protection. So in the case that it was held virtually, so more than 40 heads of state and government attended the summit, and the climate change minister here, Malik, he gave us that his recorded video message. So in that way, two countries collaborate each other. And surely there are many Korean policies on that counter climate change and protecting environment. One I mentioned mentioned recently, government announced that no subsidies, no financial support to export coal-based power generating plant.
All right.
So that's the. There are many policies from the Korean government, and recent one is, I think, 2 months ago, government announced that policy. So.
Now, if I talk about China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project, the countries within the region are investing in this project. What is the current stance of the Korean government on this?
CPEC would be very helpful to upgrade the Pakistani infrastructure here, but on condition that how this government, how the Pakistani businessmen profit that the CPEC project. That's the one point. To the Korean businessmen, it's up to them to engage or that invest in the CPEC project. Maybe a CPEC project going well. Many Korean companies would like to join that project. So it's up to that the process of the CPEC project. I think that to your government, the CPEC is one of the big opportunity.
In one of your recent interviews, you have mentioned that your prime focus to enhance the bilateral and cultural ties between the two countries. So what is the current policy you're working on?
As I told that the most important thing is that we do co-work on the Buddhist cultural heritage. So right now, both cultural heritage authorities between two countries, they are on the way to conclude the MOU that the amount that $4 million from Korea to preserve that Gandhara Buddhist culture and Buddhist heritage, and also promote for tourism. So that's the one of the biggest one. And the other one is, as I told you, that right now musical and dancing culture are very similar between two countries. So maybe we can promote that dancing culture and musical culture between two countries. Maybe I can host some kind of event for that.
All right, looking forward to that. Excellency, you did visited Peshawar and Lahore recently. What impression did you get about the two cities?
Peshawar and Lahore are very famous and historical cities. So I can feel that kind of mood and sense. So especially Lahore, very huge country in terms of cultural and historical artifact and historical importances. In the case that two cities, I think that I like that, but I more like Lahore. I can feel the people's life there. There are crowded people in Lahore. When I moved to downtown in Lahore, it took lots of time. I can see that the people are standing and they are talking and they are doing something. But Peshawar, I don't know that not much populated. But when I was in Peshawar, without the security, I in the morning, I went to the marketplace by myself.
Yeah.
It was a good memory. I took that laksha, and not
Wow.
bullet printed, bullet protection car. I just in the morning, I went out by myself. I take 2 hours, but it was very good memory to walking around by myself in the marketplace.
So like for how, I mean, you have been here for 6 months now. How much have you managed to see the country?
Yeah, as I told you that this country is very has the huge potential for the foreigners, for the even the Pakistani people. So I would like to do my job more quickly, more correctly. So I would like to keep my work in very good way, and in other time I also would like to spend my personal life here.
All
There are
right.
many chances to go to where there are many where to go, but I'm now waiting for my personal time,
All right.
the first time, free time.
Okay, so Excellency, tourism is something now the Pakistani government is hoping to focus on. Have been there many tourists from South Korea in the past years?
Before the pandemic, even though that number are not huge, there are many, I think more than 1,000 Korean tourists came to this country, but that number is not so huge. So given that potential of the tourism here, I would like to invite more Korean tourists here, and they will like and enjoying their life, their visit here. So that's my plan for that.
All right. So Excellency, what do you do in your free time apart from the cultural and bilateral meetings?
I would like to focus on that know better than Pakistan. As I told you that since I got here, I was surprised about a lot of things. So first of all, I'm try to learn the Urdu. So
Okay.
when I learned that Urdu, I know that the order of the sentence. I mean that the subject and objective and verb is the same in Korean language here.
Okay.
Normally, American language, English is subject and verb and object, but Korean and Urdu same subject, object, and verb.
Oh, wow.
So
The language is pretty much different.
yeah, whenever I not so different from Korea, Urdu is
It's similar.
yeah, many things not exactly the same, but many things similar. So whenever I have free time, I would like to learn more about this country. So one of the activities is learning Urdu, but not many times. It's difficult Urdu.
All
And
right.
I met many Pakistani people, talk to each other, and I feel that the culture of Pakistan. So that's my most priority when I have that free time or rest time.
All right. Now it's time to take a short break. We will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with South Korean ambassador. So, Excellency, what do you like most about the Islamabad?
Islamabad is a little artificially constructed city. So sometimes I feel very comfortable to live here because all the good facility for the foreigners. But sometimes even that artificially constructed as a capital of this country, but I can feel that many Pakistani cultural things and real Pakistani things. So both, I mean that artificial one and the traditional coexist in Islamabad. So basically, I like most Islamabad than the Lahore and Peshawar.
Okay. So is there any similarity between Seoul and Islamabad?
Seoul is something like Lahore.
Okay.
Because that historically built country, but we added that new one, new cities. So Seoul is a little similar to Islamabad and Lahore. It's a mixed one.
Okay. So, I mean, is your family liking the environment here?
Yeah, because that, as I told that this country has also weather conditions is similar. 4 seasons here. Korea also has 4 seasons. Even the summertime, they say that temperature too high, but low humidity. So better than Korea. You know, in summertime, Korea temperature is not over the 40 degrees,
All
but
right.
humidity always 90% and 80%. So it's too humid and hot. But here still, monsoon season they say not does not start yet. So I feel very good and comfortable even in the summer season
right.
here. My family was the same.
Okay. So, have you managed to make any Pakistani friends here, or did you get a chance to attend any of the Pakistani occasions?
You know, I'm very busy to answer that all the invitation from Pakistani people. So my wife right now tell me that you don't go every invitation. So because that I have 4 or 5 occasion every day to meet
All
the
right.
Pakistani people. So my wife worry about my health. But whenever I meet the Pakistani people, I get more stronger, more relaxed. So I have many opportunity. So Pakistani people, they are very kind and very friendly to invite
right.
me. So I met lots of Pakistani people right now.
Okay. So, I mean, Pakistani mangoes are famous around the globe. So, what do you think about them? Like, did you get a chance to try them?
Yeah, actually, I tried many times right now, Pakistani mango. You know that I traveled a lot everywhere. I can compare 3 countries mangoes. One from Brazil,
All right.
one from Cameroon, one from Pakistan. Let me talk about that. In terms of size, Brazil mango is the biggest, but you know, taste is worse than the Pakistani one.
Okay.
You know, in terms of taste, Cameroon one is a little better, similar, but very small, and the quality is bad. So, they say that I know that my experience, Pakistani mangoes is the best.
Oh, wow. It's very interesting to know about this. So, do you think, Excellency, that there are any cultural similarities between the 2 countries?
Most similarity is the family-centered culture. You know, in Korea also, family is first in every occasion. But the young people, they don't like that, but still they feel that the family is the more important in their daily lives. And also Korean people respect to the elders.
All right.
And we try to do very kind to guests and foreigners. But Pakistani people too generous, too kind to foreigners and guests. I feel like that. So there are many.
So the family culture is same as here in Pakistan, and it's same back home in Korea also. Okay. So Excellency, K-pop is becoming very famous among the youngsters here. So what step is your country taking to promote the cultural exchange between the 2 countries?
Actually, I have a Korean embassy have some program to promote Korean pop culture. So tomorrow we'll have some kind of event.
All right.
But after that, we disseminate press release for that. I was surprised that many Pakistani young people like the BTS and Korean K-pop. So when we put on the post on YouTube and SNS to hold that kind of K-pop contest, more than 200,000 Pakistani young men see that the SNS post, and more than 30 teams they send their music play for us. So I was surprised that even that the Pakistani young people they know a lot about the K-pop. So that's one of our plan that we have some kind of occasion with the Pakistani young people, and also that I need to share that the Pakistani music with the Korean people. That's one of my priority here.
Okay, Excellency, as Korean series and dramas are very famous among the youth here, is the Pakistani dramas or series are famous back home also?
It's up to that method. Right now, I see that the Pakistani drama here, some Pakistani drama in Urdu. I don't understand what they are saying, but just the scene very interesting.
Okay.
So one of the things is about some couple loving love the bank or something, but very interesting. Even though I cannot understand, I just understand. Mera naam jajaja hai.
Okay.
I just understand one sentence, but even though that the Pakistani drama is very interesting to Korean people, but the method, I mean that the Korean drama can deliver to your country through that Netflix and through the SNS in many and satellite system, but we don't have any method to see that Pakistani drama. So that's the only one problem. If we see that Pakistani drama, there are many Korean people likes that drama like me.
Okay, that's so interesting. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for your time, and I'm hoping that you enjoy your stay here in Pakistan. Well, that's all for now. I will be coming up with new episode of Visitors Book next week. You can follow us on our social media handles at indus.news. It's a goodbye for now.